Welcome to today's Explainer. We're doing something a little bit different today. We are literally putting history's greatest missing civilization on trial. Imagine, just for a second, an entire kingdom. We're talking a place far more advanced than any other ancient empire, absolutely overflowing with unimaginable wealth, towering temples covered in gold, and a level of knowledge that has just completely vanished from history. For over 2,000 years, explorers, scientists, and mystics have scoured the globe looking for this sunken utopia. So what's the deal? Was it a very real place that was deliberately hidden from humanity? Or is it just the ultimate legendary myth? Well, court is now in session as we present Atlantis, the Trial of the Lost City.
To really grasp the immense emotional stakes of this trial, we have to start at the end. How did it all supposedly fall apart? Vanished in a single day and night of misfortune. That is the chilling description passed down to us by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. He described this utterly terrifying cataclysm, massive earthquakes, enormous floods that just swallowed this utopian city whole, plunging it into the ocean forever. It's a completely terrifying image, right? And honestly, it's the exact spark that has ignited thousands of years of relentless, obsessive searching.
So, here is our docket for today's Explainer. We're going to cross-examine 5 main theories. We'll start with the original legend, move into advanced human civilization, then hidden by the elements, extraterrestrial architects, and the great cover-up, before we finally wrap things up with the final verdict. Let's get right to the evidence.
Section 1. The original legend. The historical baseline.
Okay, so let's look at the timeline of events here, because this is where the prosecution and the defense really split over this magnificent city, a city supposedly gleaming with gold, silver, and this legendary metal they called orichalcum. Our anchor point is 360 BCE. That's when Plato actually wrote his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, telling the whole story of a civilization created by the sea god Poseidon, with this breathtaking capital city built in concentric rings of land and water. Now, Plato claimed this society existed 9,000 years before his own time, which drops us way back at 10,600 BCE. But then we have this middle date, 1600 BCE. Mainstream historians present a totally different baseline. They point to the very real, devastating volcanic eruption of Thura, which is modern-day Santorini. That eruption wiped out the Minoan civilization with colossal tsunamis. Historians argue that this factual, terrifying catastrophe was passed down and eventually evolved over centuries into Plato's Atlantis legend.
Section 2. Advanced human civilization. Exhibit A.
When theorists use the word advanced, we aren't just talking about nice aqueducts or inventing the stone wheel here. Not at all. Supporters of this theory believe Atlanteans possess wildly advanced engineering, that they actually harnessed electricity and utilized crystal energy technology. The claims even go as far as flying machines, incredibly powerful weapons, and a deep, cosmic understanding of sacred geometry. According to this view, they didn't just rival our modern technological capabilities, they might have actually surpassed us.
Okay, let's dive into this, because it builds into a really fascinating debate over ancient ruins. The theorist argument basically states that when Atlantis fell, the survivors didn't just vanish, they scattered. They supposedly took all that advanced knowledge with them, directly influencing things like the massive limestone blocks of the Great Pyramid of Giza, or those spectacular towering temples built by the Maya. It's a super compelling narrative about a shared human legacy, but mainstream archaeology firmly rejects it. Why? Because there's literally zero direct archaeological evidence. There are no shared tools, no written texts connecting these globally separated cultures back to a single sunken motherland.
Section 3. Hidden by the elements. Exhibits B and C.
Now let me ask you this. What if the ruins aren't just sitting quietly at the bottom of the ocean somewhere? What if they're buried under miles of ice? Or even wilder, what if they are actively disrupting our modern world today? It's a provocative question for sure, and it totally bridges the gap between dusty ancient history and some of our biggest modern geographical mysteries.
Let's examine Exhibit B. The theorist's argument actually connects Atlantis directly to the infamous Bermuda Triangle, that area famous for the unexplained disappearances of ships and aircraft. Believers claim that those ancient Atlantean energy crystals we talked about earlier, they're still active beneath the ocean floor, and their massive power output is what's actively interfering with modern navigation and electronics today. On the flip side, the historian and scientific rebuttal is pretty blunt. Absolutely no scientific proof exists for underwater crystal disruption. There are no readings, no recovered tech, just our enduring fascination with missing ships. Now, let's pull up Exhibit C. To understand this one, we need to define a very specific piece of visual evidence, the Piri race map. This is a real, completely historical map, but theorists claim it shows something that should be impossible: the continent of Antarctica long before it was ever covered in ice. They argue this is proof that humanity actually mapped a warm, habitable southern continent thousands and thousands of years ago.
And this map fuels our next major debate. The theorist argument proposes that Atlantis wasn't in the ocean at all. It was actually located on Antarctica. They believe a sudden, violent shift in the Earth's crust rapidly relocated the entire continent to the freezing South Pole, burying this highly advanced civilization under miles of solid ice. It's a very dramatic, almost cinematic theory. But the historian and scientific rebuttal strongly disputes the whole thing. Geologists rely on the hard, undeniable reality of ice core samples. Those samples prove that Antarctica's massive ice sheets have been in place for millions of years, way before human civilization even existed.
Section 4. Extraterrestrial Architects. Exhibit D.
So what if the founders weren't even human? Ancient astronaut theorists point to specific, massive worldwide monuments as evidence of this. They look at the Great Pyramid, the giant megaliths of Stonehenge, and the sprawling, mysterious Nazca lines carved right into the Peruvian desert. The theory here suggests that extraterrestrial visitors share advanced knowledge. We're talking energy systems, genetic engineering, advanced architecture with humans, and together they founded Atlantis. Then, when Atlantis fell, traces of this alien knowledge supposedly spread out to all these other ancient sites.
The crucial point is how we weigh these cosmic claims against our own recorded history. The theorist argument suggests that basically, without alien intervention, primitive humans just couldn't have achieved such astronomical and architectural perfection. But the historian rebuttal is incredibly staunch here. Critics argue there is zero physical or historical evidence of any alien involvement. And more importantly, historians emphasize that this theory severely underestimates incredible human ingenuity, our problem-solving skills, and just the vast raw capabilities of our ancient ancestors.
Section 5. The Great Cover-Up, Exhibit E. This brings up the elephant in the courtroom. If Atlantis was real, why haven't we found it yet? Well, the theorist argument claims that powerful institutions, secret societies, and governments actually do know Atlantis was real, but they are deliberately suppressing the archaeological discoveries. Some even claim the ultimate proof is locked away right now in hidden underground chambers or the classified Vatican archives. The historian rebuttal naturally defends the academic process. They point out that absolutely no verified proof of this grand suppression exists anywhere. Modern archaeology is a global, peer-reviewed science that relies entirely on transparency and shared data. Pulling off a massive, worldwide cover-up like that would be practically impossible to maintain.
Section 6. The Final Verdict. Closing Arguments. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer geographical spread of the search once you bring all these global coordinates together. It is staggering. We have the Azores in the Atlantic, which perfectly fits Plato's original description. We've got the shifting ice crusts of Antarctica. We've got submerged crystals in the Bermuda Triangle, and even the idea that it's buried beneath the shifting sands of the Sahara. Humanity has essentially scoured every single corner of the globe looking for this one specific city. And you know, this isn't just some ancient history project. The search is highly active today. For instance, back in 2011, researchers announced they had found possible underwater structures near Spain, right near the ancient city of Tartessus. The global media absolutely exploded with excitement over this. Everyone thought, this is it. We finally found Atlantis. Yet, upon further scientific review, it yielded no definitive proof. So, the city officially remains undiscovered. Ultimately, we have to weigh the myth against the reality. On one hand, Plato's myth was clearly designed as a moral story. Atlantis started out noble, valuing balance and knowledge, but eventually power replaced wisdom and luxury replaced virtue. It's a philosophical warning about the danger of greed. But on the other hand, the reality of why this story survives to this day is deeply psychological. It represents humanity's enduring fear of sudden destruction. It reminds us that no matter how advanced an empire becomes, it is ultimately always at the mercy of the natural world.
The trial rests, but the jury is you. Maybe the whole thing was just a metaphor. Or maybe, just maybe, somewhere out there, hidden beneath the waves, the ice, or the sands, the ruins of a lost civilization are waiting to be uncovered. So I'll leave you with this. Is Atlantis still waiting to be found? Or is it history's greatest cautionary tale? Thank you so much for exploring the evidence with me in this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.